Welcome to the Farming on Purpose podcast, a podcast for farmers and ranchers ready to shift for a stronger future. Today's challenges in agriculture are new, but the grit and determination required to be successful are not. On the Farming on Purpose podcast, you'll hear how producers of all sizes and practices are moving mountains for things they believe in, all in the name of an industry that keeps growing and innovating for a stronger food system and stronger farm families. I'm your host, Lexi Wright, and I'm excited to discuss where producers are finding success, challenging the status quo, striving for better, and keeping our heritage alive, all while producing the food we depend on. Welcome back to Farming on Purpose. Today, I'm really excited to have Ashley and Hannah Rainville with me. Ashley and Hannah are two of the four Rainville siblings, and they live on a dairy farm in northern Vermont. I came across them on TikTok where they started posting in 2024. And then you guys also post on Facebook now, showing all of the awesome things about your farm. And last year, you guys were actually awarded Vermont Dairy Farm of the Year. I'm so excited to hear your story because I think you have some really special things to share and have experienced some things that a lot of folks in the dairy industry have seen coming or are feeling on their own farms, but maybe are unsure to how to handle or how to talk about it. So I want to let you guys introduce yourselves, tell more of your story, kind of how you got to where you're at.
Well, thank you very much for having us on the podcast. So I'm Hannah. I'm 24 years old, and I am the third sister in the four. Ashley and I are the two youngest. We always grew up on the farm, and I actually decided that I wanted to go and get my nursing license before. I didn't really think that I wanted to be a part of the farming. I wasn't sure what path, if it was the right path for me. So I went to college, I did the 4 years, got my nursing degree, started working as a nurse, and I was like, this is not fulfilling me at all. This is just not doing it for me. So I actually ended up moving back to the farm, still working as a nurse, but started doing chores, and everybody was always here. And I was like, why don't we just start recording our lives, everybody else does it. I was like, why don't we just start doing it? I said, I think we could be pretty interesting,
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it took off for me. And I started just investing everything I could into the farm because that's what brought me joy. Even if I wasn't making, I obviously made more as a nurse, but it was income wise as a nurse, but it wasn't fulfilling me. And it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't bringing me joy, put it that way. So that's what brought me kind of like back to the farm.
I'm Ashley. I'm 21 years old, the youngest out of the four sisters. I still live at home with my dad, which kind of helped us kind of still all be like us be on the farm. And I've been doing chores on the farm since, Hannah kind of passed them down for me interim between like my 6th and 7th grade. And I was doing them pretty much every day, at least once a day since. I currently work, I have a job as a business office, so I do like billing and stuff, which I actually enjoy, but I feel like our purpose we've kind of been brought back to it in recent years. And I feel like I want to take what I learn and apply it here.
Yeah.
And then Hannah came up to the shop one day when we were having a barbecue. She had this grand idea to start this page. And she said, I already got the tripod in my cart.
Yeah.
I'm ready to order it. Let's go. I was like, okay.
Yeah. And we started that. And then it was like making content was just our day-to-day lives. And it would turn into something that people really, I don't know, I guess enjoyed watching, but stuff that we had done, we did it every day. We've done it every day our whole life. I moved off of the farm, but we were always involved in it.
Yeah, always.
I think starting the page is what kind of put us out there. And then that kind of opened up the door for different opportunities, especially like Dairy Farm of the Year, and just to have the public outlook on it, I guess, because a lot of people don't know what goes on dairy farms or that, like where dairy farms even are. They're like these little pockets of gold throughout
Right. They really are. Yeah. And you guys have a lot more of them there in like the east than some of the other parts of it. Like you have a lot more, I guess I should say, family run dairy farm. Out here, they're like massive.
Yeah. We do have some large farms in the area, but nothing like in other states.
Yeah, not at all, for sure.
Yeah. I feel like when you put the tripod in the cart, that's when you know that you're like, I'm ready to create content. When you buy the first tripod.
It was definitely trial and error. Like I go back and look at some of our beginning videos and I'm like, but I mean, you had to start somewhere and you have to learn, and it's definitely, we started the TikTok page and then I started the Facebook page, which Facebook is just like a completely different population of people, like completely different interactions, just
different demographic.
Yeah, completely different. So that was great. It really expanded things in a different direction.
I find it so interesting how all of the different social platforms attract like just different personalities of people.
Yeah.
And they have like their own social etiquette or lack of social etiquette.
Facebook is a lack of social etiquette.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's pretty rough there sometimes.
Comments coming.
Yeah, so. It can be pretty rough out there, but it's been good. Yeah, we've had a overall really good support. Yeah, and good followers. Everybody's been really nice. So
it's interesting, I think, how like your paths are different, but you both find so much purpose on the farm. I know you said that you didn't, Hannah, growing up, think that would be part of what you found purpose in. But growing up, was there ever things that you were like, oh yeah, the farm, like that'll be part of my life forever, or that'll be a bigger part someday? Or what did that kind of evolution looks like for you guys?
Growing up, I felt like I never really realized how like incredibly blessed I was until I stepped off the farm.
Yeah.
And when I stepped off the farm and I worked in like essentially the real world, like your 9 to 5, your life isn't run by the barn, but it's run by something else. It's run by a 9 to 5 job, and that essentially takes away from, I guess, the freedom that we've always felt on the farm and the structure. It's a different lifestyle. I mean, farming is a lifestyle. And I didn't realize like my love for that and my connection to that until I walked away from it for a period of time. And then I was like, is this actually what I want? Because I always thought, that's a good question, because growing up, I never really thought like I would be like working the land, and I never thought that's where we would be. I kind of just thought my dad was gonna run the farm and we just see where things go. I never really, because we're all sisters. I think when you have brothers, it's more of a given that the brother's gonna take over the farm, and that wasn't really.
It wasn't really a guarantee.
Yeah, so I never really thought like I'm gonna take over the farm, and I just was like, I'm gonna go get a different job and start doing what I think I want to do.
But I also felt like we never felt like that the right decision in the future would be selling the farm, like the land itself. I think like from the get-go, at least subconsciously, we all kind of like figured, well, the farm is like, that's our roots. Like that's not going anywhere. So it's kind of crazy how that's kind of integrated into where we are now. Yeah, but growing up, I didn't really, like, I liked being on the farm and I loved the nature and the animals, and I love most of it. I obviously have my days, but I never thought that we would be where we are now. But at the same time, like, I couldn't really imagine it any other way.
Yeah, the last couple years has been super, super pivotal for us. Mentally, just like physically, our day-to-days, our goals, perspectives, the last year.
I want to dive into that specifically, like what this transformation has looked like for you guys, and kind of explain to people what you've gone through. But before we get to that, what have been kind of your roles on the farm, before and now, that your daily responsibilities? Because I think it's so fascinating to know how that looks different for everybody. We can all be farmers or farmers' wives or farmers' daughters or whatever, but it looks different for everybody.
When we still had all of our calves and stuff, which was 2 weeks ago, maybe. Chores every day really looked like, it's hard because like over the span of the whole past, it's like we would do calf chores. So we would be filling up pails, filling up bottles of milk, bedding calves, feeding calves. We would help out with like the milkers, but there's not really that much to do with them because of the robotic milker that we have. So it was mainly focused around the calves. But if you say like the last few months, we've really had like, we like to call it a calvalanche.
Yeah, we had a lot of calves.
We had a lot of calves, and it was a lot.
But kind of bouncing off of that, I think prior to coming back to the farm, we kind of had separate roles. Like, we don't have a great relationship with our mother, so it was kind of us and our dad. When I stopped doing this stuff the chores outside, Ashley turned into the chore hand, and I turned into like kind of, I guess, the mom of the house. Like, like keeping up with dishes and dinners and cleaning and stuff like that, while Ashley was
she lived stuff. Like an hour away, and she would come and just like deep clean the whole house,
just like whatever.
She would cook meals and stick them in the fridge, have everything prepared. She was on top of it,
because I knew what pertained to farm life. Like, I knew it was hard work, and it was Ashley and my dad there every day. And when I moved back home, it was like, then the roles changed. Then it quickly changed into the both of us in the barn, and it was every day. It was like, show me what you do every day so I can help, because I'm here too. You know, I saw the work that went into it and the hours, and I was like, I'm here, I can do this too, you know. And
she caught on pretty quick though. It's like riding a bike.
It is like riding a bike. I used to do it, but it was obviously different from when I came back and did it. Like, it was like a 5-6 year time span that I really hadn't done chores. So getting back into it, then it turned into both of us did chores every day.
And filmed it.
Yeah. That's a different dynamic, the filming too.
What was that like, adding that in?
At first, it was like, I think we overthought it a little bit.
Yes.
You know, it's very easily overthought, but you have to realize that people only see a snippet of your day or your life. Like, that video, I mean, I just started making longer videos, and a longer video I consider 3 minutes long, you know? There's a lot that goes into that one video. But I basically, the tripod's with me wherever I am, and we just record on our phones.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the iPhones nowadays have such good cameras that it's like, there's no need to really, so we just record on our phones and edit our own videos, but it does take definitely more time when you do chores. You have to make sure you get, you know, the right angles.
Yeah, like you're really taking your time doing chores.
Yeah. But just putting your camera up, and I mean, I had a hard time thinking like, oh, this isn't that interesting, you know, because it was my day today.
Like, who's gonna care that I'm spraying off these people?
But people care. People go back and watch the video, and people are like invested in it. So that's really cool to see. It makes you want to do more. It makes you want to show more. If I could get more content out faster, I would. It's just like, you're juggling, you know, working as a nurse part-time, working on the farm full-time, being a mom.
I was gonna say, new mom,
working on the farm. Like, so it's a lot, but it's like, it makes me want to post more.
And throughout this transition too, I feel like it's not been like harder necessarily filming wise, but I feel like there's been a bit of like a shift kind of, because we're kind of like, we have 1 foot in the new door that just opened, and we have 1 foot still where we've always been.
Yeah. Well, we've danced around that a little bit. Let's talk about that journey and what the last year or year plus has been like as you guys have navigated that. Like, where were the first signs for you guys that something had to change?
This winter.
Yeah. I would say like starting 2026 really was like, so I feel like 2025 was seriously us going out with like a bang.
We had 2025 was
without knowing.
Without knowing. I mean, we were busting out content. We were on the farm every day. The family was together every day. Dairy farm of the year.
Everything was just like kind of growing and like
we planted our gardens.
Looking up.
We planted our gardens. We went down to Springfield, Mass for like the event that they hosted for Dairy Farm of the Year.
We went to the Big E for it too, for like a luncheon. And it just brought us so many opportunities. And 2025 was really just like that year of just like
it brought the whole family back to the farm.
Yes.
All of the siblings back to the farm.
Yeah.
And then 2026, well, I got pregnant in 2025, and then I was due in January. So it was kind of like a period where I knew it was just going to be Ashley and our dad, which we call our dad Pops, but it was just going to be Ashley and Pops up at the barn, and I was on maternity leave. But then when the calves started rolling in, and we had a lot of calves born in the beginning of the winter, which was a lot for us. Like, we're a small farm, so we say a lot of calves is like 22, like 20 to 25 calves is a lot of calves for us.
With how many?
We don't have any hired help.
And with how many hatches we have. where all these calves are going to go space wise. I mean, people don't understand exactly what goes into like keeping a calf healthy, needing the right ventilation in the right space, you know.
And this year really, I mean, for our dad, it was everything in the barn started from, I mean, the brush broke, the robot broke, some cows went down. We had to, unfortunately, beef really good cows that we had because either they had a hurt leg or just things that you couldn't predict. And every day you walked in the barn and it was like thing after thing after thing.
It just broke, snapped. I mean, even the door we've been walking through every day like, a million times a day, like broke right off.
The skid steer.
Skid steer broke.
We used our skid steer every single day for chores. That broke. It was a
really cold cows.
Yeah. It was a really cold winter. It was a really long winter. It was like every day, is this somebody testing our strength to see, you know, you're sticking it out, or hey, this is the end.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
and it's just
take a step back.
Negative 20 degrees outside and you're just going through all the motions, and obviously things aren't working how they usually do because of how cold it is, which it's like that every winter, but it's this year just really,
it was like, is this real life? Are we actually going through this every day? Like, are we supposed to be doing this?
It was like a karmic sign. It felt like it was like, this is not working out.
And then, I mean, you could go into a whole nother conversation about the milk prices because not everybody understands how the milk's priced out, but every single farm has the same price for their milk. It's just the amount of cows that you have, which, in long story short, more cows, more expenses, less cows, less expenses, but your expenses are still there and you have less milk on the market. So your profit is less.
There's always a ratio.
Always. So the milk prices have been really bad this year. I mean, obviously the inevitable that everything is super expensive right now. So you're working with milk prices that were here in the 80s, but paying for 2026 products.
Yes. And my dad, he was trying to plan for, you know, cropping season in the summertime. We don't have the newest equipment when it comes to cropping in the fields. Obviously the price of fuel, but the price of fertilizer and all these things, he's trying to like crunch down the numbers to try and figure it out.
And where's it going to come from when what we have right now we can't cover what we have right now. So where's all this extra going to come from? It was basically, are we going to continue rolling into debt with us potentially taking over milking, and just continue the cycle, or we're at a place right now where if we sell the herd, we can pay off the debt that we owe and the farm is paid for
and we are able to have the land. In our comment section, a lot of people will say, well, just go organic or just buy more cows or do this, do that. But really for us, we have one robotic milker on the farm. We had the first one installed by like an actual farmer in the state of Vermont. And it's 17 years old now.
Wow.
And it's been milking. I mean, it has not stopped. Pops literally just says, like, you can tell it's tired.
It's like a machine that has been worked over and worked over and worked over, because larger farms trade the robot out like you would trade out your phone. You know, you get a newer model. And it's just not ideal for us. We just can't do that.
For us, it was kind of like we would only have, 2 years? No, 2 years before they said that they would stop
making parts for the machine.
Making parts
or doing updates on the machine.
I was going to say, I think it was like a program thing.
Yeah. So it was kind of like, it was at a pivotal point for us where our dad was kind of looking at us like, is dairy farming where you want to go? Or because if we stay with dairy farming, we're going to have to get a new robot. Are you going to expand? But then if you expand, you need another robot because your robot can only milk so many cows.
Yeah.
And it's just rolling over the debt to the point that like the price of milk could come back up in a few years. It could, but it's inevitable that it's going to drop again. Yeah. So it's 15 years down the road. Are we going to have to sell off land to pay down our debt?
Yeah. I think that it's also, there's kind of only a few options for farmers right now. It's either like just duck down and just try to barrel through it and try to take out what you can, and hope that you can pay it off in the future and try to recoup some of your money for when it inevitably dips again.
Yeah.
Or buy more cows, which again, financially, like, where's the money coming from? Because it's not your milk check. Or going organic, I've seen, obviously, I think it's a good option if that's what's feasible for you. or selling out.
Yeah.
It's like selling, expanding.
And this thought of selling, I think especially for our dad, was like looked at through his eyes as at first was like he failed. But it's so far from the truth. Like, it's so far from the truth because we're still, like, we remind him all the time. It's like, we're still here. The farm is still here. Like, when I share online that we're selling, everybody thinks, oh, the farm is just like
oh
down.
no, this is horrible that like everything's just gonna stop. Nothing.
Right. But it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
No.
You know, we're selling the cows so that we can keep the farmland, because what's the most valuable thing is land. Like, the most valuable thing is land, and we don't want to have to sell any of that off to pay off debt. So I think we always tell our dad, you know, we're on the up and up, so to speak. We might be in the hole, might be having to sell the cows, but we're going to be on the up and up. We're not rolling into more debt, trying to stay where we are when we're burnt out. He's tired. You could just tell that he didn't have joy coming to the barn anymore. It wasn't it used to be, he's a happy-go-lucky guy, nothing can get him down. And it just wasn't like that. I mean, it's been months. I think, since since like December that he's been, you know, himself. Like
you could tell
he's drained, he's tired, he's ready he needs a change. Yeah. And I don't know that change would have even been, I don't think that us taking over milking would have filled that void for him anyways.
No, I don't think it would
be stress for us. Like,
and you wouldn't be able to get him to pry himself off of this farm.
No.
Like, he's just going to continue farming.
Yeah.
So
you guys made a really tough decision to hopefully keep options open now that because you're on the up and up. So you've got the land, you've got options for what you do and what direction you go. You said, I feel like what so many people feel and just don't know how to say. And, you know, they feel like you said, is this somebody testing me? Is this a sign from God or, you know, from the universe that I'm like, that I shouldn't be doing this anymore, or that we need to go a different direction? And I feel like people don't understand how big of a deal that is when you are in that moment. Like, that feels like the world is crushing in on you. And then to be faced with this decision that's going to impact your entire family. I mean, did you guys have conversations about it? How were you guys kind of processing this? Or was it more like reaction of, oh my God, this is happening like every day?
In like January-ish, I think we had a conversation with Pops, just brief, not about selling the cows like anytime soon. I think we actually stated in the barn where we, you know, met like every morning, chatted in the office, sipping our coffee. We had a conversation just about the future, but in a very like rough, broad standpoint. And we even said then, we were like, oh yeah, not anytime soon, like in terms of selling the cows. Yeah. But whenever that time is inevitable for you, like talking to him, we are ready, but in a different aspect. Like we're ready to continue utilizing the farm, even if farming is not in the same way.
We knew that it was coming. We didn't know when it was coming, but we knew that we had to make sure that he knew that the decision to sell his cows was his decision. Because he always was like, well, they're ours, it's our farm, but it's his investment. These are his cows. I mean, this is his operation that he built. He has farmed since he could walk on his farm, his family's farm growing up. And then once he met our mom, they got married, they bought this farm here. This farm has always been in the Rainville family. It's actually his great-grandfather, his dad's dad. They moved down from Canada with their whole family and has this farm. And then it went down a generation, and then it was down another generation to our dad. So I think that maybe he felt like it was not like letting go of the family legacy, but we have to evolve to keep what we have. And to keep pushing it down to generation and generation. And I just think that none of us were ever, including him, ever put in that situation in terms of thinking about the farm without the cows and what we could still use it for. And I think for us, the conversations, because we had conversations aside from our dad of kind of processing it ourselves, because we're ready for what's next for us, but this is our entire childhood. This is our entire life. Like, this is what we were raised on. This is what we know. This is what I pictured telling my child and my future children, like showing them this way of life. So when the decision was made at first, it was like,
it felt like we were losing so much of the future.
Yeah, so much of the future. But then we had conversations like, we think about how our dad would, tell stories about his childhood on the farm to us. And that's his life and his memories that he lived. And one day, I'll be able to share with Evelyn, like Ashley and I doing chores and what that looked like, because when she gets to enjoy this farm, when she realizes the enjoyment of the farm and the blessing that it is, it's going to be a completely different look for her than what it was for us.
But how blessed are we that we have it all documented?
There definitely was a lot of conversations, side conversations, daily conversations, repetitive conversations to get us where we are now. But it's sad and we're still processing, but we're at a better place than where we were.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
What helped you when you were having those conversations to like reach decision points? Because you said like some of those conversations, they get so repetitive. It's like, we know the facts, we know the information, we're talking about how we feel about it, but it's difficult to finally like pull that trigger or, know the direction that's right for everyone. What kind of guided you in those circumstances?
I think honestly, since last summer when we were doing the garden and stuff, we kind of brought up, I feel like it was kind of known that we want to expand doing that next year, and how we were interested in focusing on just different aspects while keeping dairy farming like at the core, but being able to branch off of that.
And I think that, so for us, that meant that we kind of saw a future past the cows.
Yeah.
That I think for our dad was harder to see, because everything he always saw was the cows,
Yeah.
And there's going to be like, we kind of sat down with him. We were like, when you make the decision that it's time to sell the cows, are we ready to 100% jump in, quitting our jobs and starting whatever we're going to start? Not necessarily. I say, we're going to have, we have to grow that. There's going to be, a few years of transition where we're still doing both. We're still balancing those different lives to hopefully potentially be able to be here full time. But the conversation, like I said, we knew that we had to give our dad time, and we saw the future beyond the cows. It was having the repetitive conversations, because our dad has a lot of repetitive conversations.
He does.
But because he's kind of convincing him, like he felt like he had to convince himself, I feel.
Yeah.
So, having the conversations with us and us just supporting him, I think is what was, knowing that we're not going anywhere because the cows are gone. I think that was something that helped all of us.
Yes. My main thing during that time was just trying to be supportive of him, whether, emotionally supportive and obviously supportive, like helping out on the farm, but that's a given. But that was like my main concern. My concern for like the future wasn't really there necessarily. Like I always kind of had no doubt in my mind that going forth in the future, whatever we put our energy into is gonna happen, whether it's right now or it's later on, and we build up to that.
Yeah, because I think one thing that a lot of people don't understand is that the things that we want to do with the farm and the direction we want to go in, we were planning on going in whether we were milking or not. So for us, we were just going to put the work in, Like,
we were talking about a schedule where it's like someone's doing chores and someone has to be in the garden like that day. It has to be separate, because if we both do both,
we're just not enough hours in the day.
We can't get it done.
We were going to make it happen. Once we kind of processed the thing of the cows not being here, obviously still processing, but it was like, wow, if we put the time that we put into feeding calves and the barn into the growth of the garden and our future here, like,
ain't no telling.
Magic. It's just because we already invest so many hours and so much of our time into the farm. So if we were to do that on a different scale, like towards something different, then that
it's gonna work out one way or another.
It has to.
It has
to. I think it's really easy to tell, as you guys have talked and some of the things that you share about the process that you went through, to see that like family is the core. And I think a lot of people feel that in their hearts, like that their farm family is their core of their operation, but sometimes it gets lost in translation because, they care about other things like the future of the farm, the specifics of what the farm does. And that can be a hard conversation to navigate, especially when, like you said, I mean, you didn't say it specifically, but when you were talking about the milk prices and the direction of how you either have to expand and what's that look like and what's that cost, it's like this model of farming that's been handed to the generation right now
This is
that
what we have.
doesn't really work anymore.
Yeah.
People are trying to figure out how to make it work every day or, make tweaks and see what works, but
And
it,
essentially, they're bringing in income outside of the farm.
Yeah, and then you're forced to bring in income from outside of the farm just to keep your operation running.
Yeah.
When it's really just, it can turn into a hole very quick.
puts families in such a precarious situation to be handed that model. And, sometimes a generation's like, oh, well, you got to just stick it out and muscle through. And the generation that's coming up is like, well, I don't want that for my family. I don't want that
Yeah.
for my kids' future. So it creates those difficult conversations. But for you guys, it sounds like the family was at the core of everything.
100%. And I think
Yeah.
that we went to the American Dairy Expo, which was actually an event that was reached out to. We were reached out to do to kind of
Just be a creator at this
a new
event.
event here in
Yeah.
Vermont. So they wanted a social platform. They had a few different social media pages
Creators,
there.
yeah.
And we went there, and there was actually a talk about the next generation, passing down. They actually had farmers, different generations on a panel,
Yeah.
and we were asking questions. And I'll be honest with you, when I was looking at it, I was like, we were thinking this is kind of the direction we're going in.
Yeah, seems to be working out.
Yeah, this is kind of what we're looking at. But looking back at it, when I look at what I thought then, and this is back in November, to what I think now, I was like, how is this going to be feasible for us to take over? How are we actually going to work out all the kinks of this? That this is going to work out in our favor, in our future family's favor. How is that actually going to work out? If the farm can barely financially support our dad, how is it going to financially support ourselves, our future family, and potentially our dad too, if needed, But then when I look at what we've been looking at in the last few months, I see the future and I see the change, and I see that 20 years from now, when someone's like, oh, that used to be a dairy farm, they used to milk cows there, but look at what it has evolved to,
being able to create that, even have an opportunity to create that like we have now, I think.
Yeah. The big picture. I mean, the market out there for fresh produce and fresh meat and,
it's just
farm
expanding.
fresh food is huge. I think that's what we need to get back into, and what a lot of people want to get back into.
I think a lot of people are realizing that, especially in recent years. I feel like they're really realizing what is even in a grocery store. What are some of the ingredients that are in some of these things? And just I just want fresh beef. Why do I have to dig into all this just to make sure it doesn't have this, or it's not grown there, or it's how it's one cow, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think that's the way that the world is evolving, but hopefully anyways, but I see a future with that where, like I said, we want to keep the farm. So we need to evolve in a different
way.
Yeah.
I think farming has evolved a lot, but the evolution is a bit different. I think obviously you hear farmers all the time say, oh, it's not what it used to be. But it's so true, because you used to be able to really live off of just the farm solely for a whole big family. I mean, we're talking 8 kids live off of dairy farming, and you didn't have to have so many cows to be able to do that. And obviously things over time always are going to get more expensive, whatever. But it's kind of with dairy farming, the system, I think, has been kind of opened up to. People have kind of opened their eyes to the system that dairy farming has run on for so long. And kind of thinking, well, the future doesn't really this just does not line up.
Fortunate, because it should. This farm used to be a farm that supported 15 siblings. Our our grandfather he's one of 15, and this farm supported it. Supported that family. Can it do it now? No, it can't. Not on its own. Not in the world that we live in now. And that's the hard truth of it, is that you put in so many hours every day. You work so hard. I mean, you work so hard, and the return is little to nothing, if not loss.
Yeah, and people, I feel like we're always like, we'll make the farm better or whatever. And it's like it's not the farm's issue. It's the system that farms are having to comply to.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
I wonder what changed because like from a farm going to supporting like a family of 15, 17 people to barely being able to support one. Like that's just mind-blowing
It
to
is.
think about.
It is.
You know, the payment that you get for your product is the same that it was 30 years ago, but the rest of the world is not.
I got chills when you said that, this used to be a dairy farm, but this is the future. I legitimately got chills. So I was like, oh, this feels so exciting for you guys. So you've kind of dabbled or just told a little bit about what that future might contain. Tell us more about the plans, the ideas, what's next.
Yeah.
We have kind of like a blanket, an umbrella of ideas. But nothing's fine-tuned.
But the possibilities are endless.
And I think that we're always just keeping our mind open to that while still looking into some specifics here.
Yeah, it's still very new.
So last year was our first year of like, obviously we're still farming. So it was like, let's just see. We have a garden behind the house. Our mom used to plant. So we have a crazy garden every year. And then that kind of dwindled away. There wasn't time to do it. Nobody was here to do it. I mean, the chores took up everything. Then last year we were like, we're all back at the farm. Let's do it.
Yeah. Hannah was like, let's have a grocery store in our basement.
Yeah.
Well, the room will be full.
Yeah.
We'll all just go down there, grab the meat, grab the beans.
Yeah. And we worked hard to try to get that. Yeah. I mean, I was pregnant last summer and
Hannah went through it.
I was busting my tail to try to experience everything that we could experience because the summer's short here. The growing season's short. It was like, let's do whatever we can. So we got laying hens, we got meat birds, we got pigs, we grew the garden, we did the
gosh.
We made the breads, we worked every day
of it while still working jobs and doing the farm.
It was
and making content.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
It was a lot. Looking back on it, I really don't know how we did it all, but we dabbled in a little bit of everything, which helped us shape where we went. As far as where we want to go, we are obviously replanting our garden this year and expanding that. We're getting pigs actually today. We have our laying hens that are now laying. We're getting meat birds again. And we kind of did everything for ourselves last year, trial and error. It's still going to be trial and error. We still have to go through the motions.
There's never anything not to learn,
But this year we're hoping to sell our product. So we have a potential location for a farm stand and soon to come, hopefully. And we already have our seeds that are started and we're going to be expanding our garden this weekend, rototilling. And we're looking to kind of slowly start selling product off of the farm, like fresh vegetables. Ashley does herbs and flowers, making products here on the farm that we can share with the community and sell within the community, kind of go from there. And then hopefully expand every single year to maybe down the road, getting whatever we need in line to sell beef and sell
different kinds of meats, maybe products.
Maybe we do some kind of farm to table thing. Yeah. And we still do have beef cows throughout our herd that we are keeping.
So we will still have some cows right now, though. I think it would be like
12. I think it's like 12. But we can breed them and in a few years from now, potentially have a much larger beef herd. Possibility there is, we have the animals because to buy the animals is expensive, but to have our own and then reproduce, we have the land, we have the space, we have the barn for it. So why not? So we kind of just put our eggs in the basket and, do our best. Yeah. See what we can do.
We could have pumpkin patch.
Yeah. We talked about a corn maze.
We talked about corn maze. We grow Christmas trees. So, I mean, I think it's just a lot of different ways we could expand.
We have the farmland and we are leasing the fields this year for cropping. And then hopefully down the road, whether that be 5 years, 6 years, however long down the road, if we need to expand like our vegetable growth or whatever it is, we have the farmland to do so.
Yeah.
That's like super important to us.
Very.
We have ideas. But the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's an exciting place to be. I feel like to have that excitement for something new and to have so many options to be able to just like figure it out as you go and see what sticks.
Yeah.
Definitely. And we'll learn, we learned so much last year looking back on it. I don't even know how we did it all, but
this year's going to be even more
I know.
pivotal, I feel.
Yes, but we learned so much, and it's like you look at the picture of it and you're like, wow, that is going to be so much to complete that, but you just do your best every day, and that's all you can do. Nobody can ask you to do more than your best because you just don't have it. And I mean, that's just what we do here every day.
And documenting all of this process, I hope. So we can watch
Yes.
on TikTok.
Yes. That also has plans for growth.
Yes.
In the future. I don't want to get too specific because I know that plans always change.
Yeah.
But we have lots of ideas.
We'd like to go on to different platforms and expand our videos a little bit more.
Go on to YouTube, do a bit more longer form content would be nice. I think we're definitely gonna.
And I think that we've also really shown our life on the farm, but we haven't shown our life off the farm and on the farm, because I think that's interesting. A lot of people don't experience that, I guess, or they think if you live on a farm that you're solely just on the farm because you're on the farm, but that's not the reality of it.
Right.
So I'd like to dabble in a little bit more about sharing that in our videos in the future too.
Yeah.
It's like two worlds colliding.
It is.
It is.
Yeah,
it is like two separate,
because I am a completely different person when I go to work.
I'll be like in my work clothes and I'll be at the bank and I'll say something to the teller and someone's next to me and they heard my voice and they'll be like, "Are you from Rainville Riz?" And I'm like, "Oh my God." They're like, "I didn't even recognize you. I just heard your voice though." And I was like, "That sounds so familiar." And it's just insane to have moments like that.
We're just sharing our life. Like we're just making silly little videos, but sometimes people are invested, and it's pretty interesting, honestly. I think it's fun. I tell Ashton, like, if you're ever bored, scroll back through our TikToks. It's like watching a movie of your own life. I could sit there and watch that.
I could sit there for hours. It's crazy.
It's so awesome you guys have those memories, like you said, documented to have forever. That's really cool.
Yeah. Crazy. I feel like last year, 2025 too, is like the best year to have fully documented.
Yeah.
Like,
really, it is.
Really.
It's such a crazy.
Quite a whirlwind.
Yeah, for sure. But we've talked about your content. Where can people go to follow you and watch how the story unfolds?
Yes. So our TikTok page is at Rainville Riz.
With 3 Z's.
Yes. And then our Facebook page is the same thing, Rainville Riz with 3 Z's. I think that Facebook, you'll see anything that's posted on TikTok is posted on Facebook, but TikTok, more short sounds on TikTok. TikTok has kind of changed in the last couple months, I think, like the platform of people. Facebook evolved a lot faster than I thought that it would. I would say that I probably share more of my personal life on Facebook than I do on TikTok.
Yeah.
But both platforms, Rainville Riz with 3 Z's.
Yeah.
And it's a picture of all 4 of us girls when we were little sitting on a hay bale in the barn. I mean, it's going to be evolving and changing. I think that our page is going to change, and I'm excited for that.
I'm excited to have time to actually dive into more avenues, which should be kind of soon here.
Yeah. We're in a pivotal state right now.
It's an exciting place to be. Well, I appreciate you guys coming and sharing so authentically what the last year and beyond that journey has been like for you guys. I think it's something that's really helpful to hear how that process went for you, because other people go through that same process and they need to know that there's hope and there's more and there's potential. So thank you guys for sharing that.
Just know that even if there's seems like there's clouds surrounding you, like there is light on the other side.
And change is inevitable.
No matter what that other side is for you, because it's going to look different for everyone.
Yeah.
And you just have to do what's best for you and what you feel like you want your future to look like at the end of the day.
And once a dairy farmer, always a dairy farmer.
For real.
I like it. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, thank you.
If you've enjoyed spending time with us today, please take a moment to review the podcast on Apple Podcasts or join the conversation on social media. Do you have a topic you would like to discuss or know someone with a story to share? Apply to be a guest on the podcast at farmingonpurpose.com. You can follow the host of Farming on Purpose, Lexi, on your favorite social media platforms for more content by searching for Farming on Purpose. And remember, if you look around your table and aren't inspired by the people there, it's time to find a new seat.